Welcome to Pep Talks with Eric, the podcast where self-work becomes system work. I'm your host, Eric Ayers, creator and author of SimRx, Transforming Healthcare, Leadership, and Culture by Design. This show is your space to shift perspectives, ignite action, and remember who you are and who we are in the process. Every week, we spark transformation, from burnout to breakthrough, from surviving to designing. You'll hear real stories, real tools, and real humans doing real work. So let's shift, let's build, and let's spark what's next together. I'll see you inside. Guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Pep Talks with Eric. I'm your host, Eric Ayers, and today I'm super excited to bring a human being into our world who, from the very moment I met him, his presence, his calm presence was intriguing, inviting. And interesting enough, he reached out to me after I received my ICF credentialing. And he's a fellow ICF credentialed coach. And Romeo Ymalay, did I get it? Perfect. Right. Perfect. Is an executive and leadership coach. He's globally experienced. And he empowers senior executives, visionary entrepreneurs, and influential leaders to align their leadership with core values, fostering confidence, integrity, and impact. He's worked with Fortune 100 executives, business founders, and government leaders across Europe, Asia Pacific, the United States, and Africa. And he specializes in addressing universal leadership challenges such as imposter syndrome. We've talked a little bit about that, work-life balance, and value-driven decision-making. Through personalized coaching, leadership programs, and culturally nuanced workshops, Romeo helps clients break through barriers to expand their leadership capacity, creating transformation in their careers, teams, personal lives. Now, he's born in the Philippines, raised in New York, and now based in Brazil. Romeo brings a truly global perspective to his work, with a goal to grow his presence in England, Portugal, Spain, France, Southern Africa, Singapore, and the Philippines. So, man, Romeo, welcome to the show, my friend.
Eric, thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here.
And I'm excited. The timing worked out. We finally got this aligned, and now we can record this conversation. And I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's really exciting to be here. Sorry, there's a little
So,
lag.
as you could probably tell in the bio, we're going to be focusing on values-based leadership and how it drives meaningful impact in leadership and executive roles. And this is fascinating to me. This is something that we talk about often, but sometimes it's a little abstract. One thing I love about values-based leadership is that it's not a concept, right? It's something we live. So would you say that's true?
Yeah, that's very true. When we do something, when we say something, when we think of something, it's based on what we believe in, right? And is that based on fear? Is that based on excitement and hope? What are we coming at it when we come to a situation, when we say something to a friend, to a family member, to a colleague? Where are we coming from? That's based on our values. So yeah, it's not just a concept. It's a real thing that we're bringing into a situation. And so I'm excited to talk to you about this.
I I love that. I could feel that energy and that understanding of when I come into a conversation, my values are what's leading me there and leading the conversation, and it's how I receive that as well. So we're working with executives. How true and how powerful is it to understand that the values-based leadership is an act, not a concept?
Yeah. No, we are in a moment of change, right? And it's not just because of what's happening in the world today. Been the world is ever changing. People are decision making powers. Um, you can tell when they are making a decision, at least you can see it if they're struggling with something, right? Is this the right thing? Is this the good thing? Is it both? Right? And once someone makes a decision based on values, it should be on their values, it should not be a big stress. They have gone through the motions of thinking it through. Why is this important to me? And why is it important to the people who I work with, who I live with, right? That's in the situation. And when you talk about values, it's what matters most to you at that given time, right? Change happens where maybe 6 months, a year, your your focus has shifted. And where are you now? Are you worried about financial? Are you worried about skill? Are you worried about just putting a roof over your head, food for yourself and your family? Are you worried about relationships, right? Or are you ready to grow? And so, where are you, and what values are you bringing with you in that conversation, in that decision making? And so, when I work with senior leaders, it's always a great discussion when we get to a point of why does this matter to me, right? And then I ask them that, you know, if all else is equal, and this particular thing that you're going to make a decision on is the most powerful, not the equal of everything else, but the most powerful. Why is it important? What makes this decision the right thing to do right now? Is it going to have a big impact? And what kind of impact i- is it going to be for the people you work with and you live with? It's a conversation. Yes, it's a struggle at the beginning, but when you make that decision, you feel at ease. You know, I'm being true to myself, right?
Mhm.
It's very important to know that. And if you don't know why you do what you do, uh, you come off inauthentic. You come off unsure. You come off as, quote unquote, fake. It
Yeah.
may not be fake. It's just, you just don't know who you are. All right.
Right.
And if you don't know who you are, then you don't know where you're going. You don't know how you're going to support others. You don't know what the future holds for you. And so that's why values is very important.
It's a very interesting concept because to me, I was thinking of two words: misalignment and imbalance.
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
I use the analogy if I'm on the East Coast and I want to drive to California, I need to head westbound, correct?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
but I have to know where I'm going. There's alternate routes to get there. As long as I'm going west, I'll eventually get there. But I have to at least know that they have to align. Otherwise, I'm going to end up in the ocean, right? And or in Canada or somewhere else outside of where I'm trying to get to. So I love that aspect of before we can put forth action or help others, we have to know what in the world we're doing and why we're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is it about this that aligns with who I am? And something that I found from a personal journey is taking on values of other people as my own. Therefore,
Mhm.
running 100 miles an hour to someone else's hopes and dreams and realizing,
Mm.
why am I unfulfilled? Well, my
Mhm.
values are over here.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens quite a lot, doesn't it? We when we don't know, even if we do know who we are, we don't know how to stand up for it or importantly, that might trigger something that might challenge us and say, "Okay, I have to go there. This is where they're going, and I have to go with them." But why?
Yeah.
Um, and is that where I need to be, right? And when you said, your metaphor of going west, I always come back with, okay, so what's in the west? What's
Right.
what's make you think of? going that there, right? So I'm not going to Canada or Mexico. Uh, but why West? What's so exciting about West,
Yeah.
right? And no judgment, obviously, but it's more of understanding, okay, what's bringing you there?
Yeah.
And that all goes back to, okay, let me think this through. Why exactly am I going there? What are the reasons for me to go there? And it may take me 5 days, 6 days, 7 days driving out there. There are many pit stops along
Mhm.
the way, right? That may challenge the fact of me going west, or might give me more reason to go west, right? So
Right.
I say that so that we're all thinking, let's not dismiss those stops along the way, right? But again, going back, let's think about this. Why west? Now, if I think of west, I think of my in-laws are there right now, and so yeah, I would go west,
Yeah.
right? I love them. I would go west. But then again, okay, aside from that, what else am I going in now for yourself of what made you make that decision to go in one direction versus the other? And
Right.
and are you comfortable with it?
I appreciate you bringing this up because, like, we're going to pause for a second. This is that pivotal moment
Yeah.
in our lives to where we need to give ourselves permission to ask the question, like, why? Why are we wanting to do this? Why do we need to change? Why are we seeking something different? Like, and then begin to construct, we'll continue with the metaphor, construct the map on the way to get there. So what pit stops would feed me the most along the way? What exits can I take that will help me not only get to the west, but to, by the time I get there, I'm a better person for it because I'm nourished. I'm like full in every capacity as possible. And when I
Yeah.
do that, now I show up as my true authentic self. And it's almost like those pit stops, which pit stops align with my values to where when I get there, I'm full. Like my values have been articulated and tweaked and I'm realigned with them. And I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is Eric.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. And exactly. And when you're thinking about the journey, right? It's a long journey. The West may be the destination at the moment, but
Right.
it may also be another pit stop to somewhere else.
Yes. Yes.
And to think about it as an ever evolving opportunity for yourself to grow, to understand and solidify your values, to continue to live it, uh, obtain the skill set, the transformation to be who you want to be. And
Mhm.
you don't have to wait until you're at the destination, right?
Right.
We can start now
Right.
and make this whole journey about living that and those values. Uh, and so when you're at the first destination of the West,
Yeah.
right? Um, you're already there, like yourself, and you just happen to be in a different location, but your mentality is already there, has been there
Yeah.
already. Um, and so it's not to wait, but like you said, how do I use the other pit stops as
Mhm.
an opportunity to grow, to realign and fully align with my values?
Yes. Oh, this keeps building and I love this because this is a perfect example of how coaching works, right? Because like in
Uh-huh.
this in
Yeah.
this in this metaphor, like when you first meet a coach, you're like, oh, what's your destination? Ultimately, like where are you going to go? And then identifying why, and then building the steps to get there. And then once you get to the West, realizing the destination is never there. It's always what's next, right?
Mm,
Because we are always
yeah.
expanding when we're in this journey. And so I was reminded of with your art in the background and with the story, I was reminded of, the quote of the detriment is not in aiming too high and not hitting it, but aiming too low and hitting it. So
Mhm.
if we hit the west and we stop there, like we've aimed too low. So ultimately, this in the coaching, what you've identified and showed the listeners very well is they gain permission to continue exploring, right?
Yeah.
And you take it right back to their permission to explore is based on their values. So at any point they can pivot and go a different way
Mhm.
based on, as you said before, what's going on in your life right now, right? What is your focus? Is it financial? Is it work? Is it,
Exactly.
whatever the case may be? And it's continuously realigning, and
Yeah.
it's never there, right?
Yeah. And it it's the definition of the destination, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I like how you said it when we first talk to our clients. It's like, so where do you want to go at the end
Yeah.
of this engagement? And you're like, huh, okay, interesting. Tell me more about that, right? And then you realize it's just a pit stop to where they want to be.
Right.
And where they want to be might be just happiness and confidence in themselves mean. What are they doing? And
Mhm.
it's not necessarily a physical place. It could be a mental and spiritual place.
Right.
Uh, and so it's very fascinating. And another example of that is as a coach, right? When we're starting out, we're always thinking, okay, what skills do I need to be able to be one, I coach, two, to be a good coach, three, to be a better coach, or four, to be the best coach, right? And so you're like,
Right.
oh, I thinking about these things. And then many times we end up not coaching because we're all thinking about what else can I be obtaining, the certification, the credentials, but we're not coaching
Mhm.
and we're not
Yes.
practicing our craft and getting better at our craft because we're just worried about, right? Let's be good at what we do now, and then let's bring in more. And so
Right.
those are maybe the pit stops that we can get along the way to become the best coach. And even when we're the best coach, we can still even be better.
Yeah.
And that's by practicing
Yep.
and doing our
Absolutely.
craft and just
Absolutely.
being there. Yeah.
So Joe Dispenza says it this way. He
Yeah.
says, in order for us to become something, we have to go from thinking to doing to being. We can't think
Yeah.
and then become something. There has to be the doing. And the more we do it, the closer
Yes.
we become to whatever it is we want. So if the best coach is our what we're going to become, then we have to do the coaching in order to become the we have to do the best coaching and learn from that and keep tweaking that in order to become that
Yeah.
coach, right? So
Yeah.
it's a false sense of identity, and I have spent most of my life falling into this trap of gaining all of the acclimates and credentials that I can to therefore say, here's my resume, it's proof that I'm really good
Mhm.
at what I do
Yeah.
instead of what we're doing right now, two human beings coming together and helping one another, right? Because at the
Yeah.
core, that's what leadership is, that's what business is, that's what coaching is. It is empowering the other person to become the best version of themselves, right? And I call that Ubuntu, the I am because we are,
Yeah.
because that's what we're doing. It's my lived experiences can translate into empowering your lived experience. And in turn, you're helping me along the way as well. And we just
Exactly.
continue this reciprocation of exchanging energy to expand humanity.
Exactly. Exactly. And the other thing to think about is we're not perfect. We're all
Right.
human beings, right?
Right.
We're coaches, our clients are we're all human beings. We are bound to make mistakes. It's how we interpret those mistakes and learn
Yes.
from them. And it's okay, right? As long as we're not, doing extremely awful mistakes.
Right. And as long as we're learning from those mistakes,
But
right?
this is part of where we're going necessarily, right? We don't really know what life is about and where it's going to take us.
Yeah.
It's how we make out of that life. It's how we enjoy it. Yes, we're gonna make mistakes. It's fine. Everyone does it. I struggle from it, and so I'm saying it because I'm reminding myself by saying it out loud that it's okay for me to make mistakes too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're all
Abs-
humans. Yeah.
Yeah. So I refer to this a lot as the bicycle paradox because for some reason it seems like as adults we have a less threshold tolerance for not being perfect right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter who you are. The first time you hop on a bicycle, you're going to fall because
Oh yes.
you might have an understanding, you might have a degree in quantum physics or mechanical physics or like bicycle design. But until you hop on that bicycle and actually ride, you have no idea how to ride a bicycle.
Uh-huh.
And you practice and you fall. And each time you fall, you get up and you change direction, you switch, and all of a sudden, then you realize, oh, this is balance. And it's in that doing, it's in the failing, it's in the, I'm not even going to say fail, it's in the trying and the self identified knowledge gaps that we're then able to create the balance that's needed to ride the bicycle. And that is no different than
Yeah.
anything we do in this life.
Exactly. It's very true. And it's funny that you talk about bicycles because I'm not a great bicyclist or cyclist. I don't intend to be a good one. It's just an okay one. Is my goal.
That's
And anytime I ride a bike, I always wobble from my head and like it's gonna happen again. And I've given up. We've gone to dunes and I've given up biking and I had to go on my own. I knew my limits then, but
mhm,
I also had to figure out which terrain I'm okay with.
mhm.
Um, it's
Beautiful.
understanding that, right? Like
Yes.
I'm okay with if it's flat and as if not that much cars in front of me
Right.
and there's protected bike lanes. I'm okay with that. Otherwise, if they're not there, I sense that fear again, right? And so,
Hmm.
do I want to overcome it? Yes, but do I need to overcome it now? Maybe later on. I'm not dismissing the whole biking altogether. Right now, I just don't have the need for it, or it's not. My life doesn't depend on it at the moment, right? Um,
Right.
but it's okay. I've accepted the fact that I'm a terrible cyclist. I'm also a terrible driver, but that's okay. Like I I have other means of transportation,
Yeah.
and I had to be okay with the fact that I'm not good in many things.
And and this is beautiful and how you pointed this out, very subtle. This is based on your values, right? And
Yeah,
you understand these through going into the terrains where you're like, this doesn't align with my values. There's something off. I feel fear. Fear is that trigger of identifying, wait a minute, something's off.
yeah,
Either I need to exhibit courage and practice courage here, or this is misaligned with where I'm going and only I can tell that, right? So
yeah,
this is empowerment. This is and the fact that you're like, I'm not that good at cycling and I'm okay if it's flat and I know that's what we're doing. Cool. We're going to do that. But anything outside of that, you guys have fun. I'm going to be doing whatever brings value in life to you, right?
exactly, exactly. And some people may disagree with that, like the husband, but it's conversation that we're gonna have to
Right, right.
because there are different values and there are times when we don't have to be fully aligned, right?
Mhm.
But you have to respect each other's values.
Absolutely.
And there are times when I think, yeah, I should work on that, and I will. Maybe not now, but I will,
Yeah.
right? Um, but I have a different focus at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have this creation. It's SimRx is the ethos of what
Uh,
this is, and it's ultimately it's connection, competency, and compassion. Right. That's
mm,
what the focus is, and it brings in a lot of the elements that you're talking about. Of we practice to become efficient and effective,
mhm.
and without that competency, we're going to miss or lack the connection and or compassion. So the competency is actually created in the doing.
Right.
The doing, the part that we all are like, oh, I don't want to because it feels uncomfortable. It's scary. And I know I'm going to suck at it when I first do it. Has to be done because once we shift into pure competency, oh my gosh, now we're able to be the person we're supposed to be. Now we're able to lead
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
manage task, right? Now we're able to
Yeah.
hop into our true essence.
Exactly. Exactly. And just going back quickly to the cycling thing, uh, I have done and exhibited some courage, at least what I think, of we went to dunes in Namibia and we went like a big dune and we went down. I was like, great, I did that. And they're like, oh, that was just the preview. I was like, oh, first of all, that was really high. And two, yeah, I think I almost killed myself. Right. And so I said, I tried it. I knew that wasn't for me. It's great for everyone else to do it, but at least I tried it, right? I've exhibited at least what I consider the courage to test things out,
Mhm,
to try it and see if it worked. Now, for many others, they just keep trying and trying and trying, right?
mhm.
And not even thinking it through of, okay, I tried that. What did I learn from it? And how can it be better? Um, and I thought about that and they said, okay, so what can I do to be a better cyclist in the dunes? And I think about this when I coach sport as well, right? I'm going to fail in certain things because I don't know what the policies are. I don't know what
Right,
the processes are.
right.
I can ask, I can do my research, but it's the action that makes a difference
Yep.
also. So let's try it. Let's see if it makes a difference, if it makes sense to me, if I did it correctly. And it's okay to fail because we need to be able to have that space to test and experiment. That's where we
Mhm,
learn. And if we
mhm.
don't provide that space for our staff, for our family, to try, then there's always going to be that
Yes,
fear. And that fear will then exacerbate
yes,
instead of sh- shifting it into courage. It's
right,
just going to be worse and worse and worse. And we don't grow from it. We hide.
right.
And it's challenge it that becomes our value.
Yes,
So it's not a fun experience. It's not a fun feeling.
right. Couple things here because this is a perfect spot to pause again for a second and offer like insights on real life application. Two things. One, if we could present to our employees a environment similar to how we were offered when we began to walk,
Yeah.
no one, like, we take one step and it's the biggest celebration in the world, right? The adults around
Yeah.
are celebrating that one step, but then we fall. But because of that, and because we have an internal knowing that we can do this, like, we just know it, we get up and we take another step. And then we keep
Right.
doing this. What if we set up the environment, like you said, to allow people to explore, to expand, to do this, to practice in a safe environment,
Yeah.
but not only safe, but encouraging to, yeah, you might have
Yeah.
failed, but look at you fell in the 10th step. Like you took 9 steps, man. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Right? Let's highlight the
Exactly.
positives
Let's
instead
celebrate
of,
that.
yeah, exactly. And that seems weird as adults, but that is how we lived our childhood, right? And I've never seen anyone get in trouble for falling when they're learning to walk or, it was like, no, that's awesome. So what if you have to hold on to a table when you walk? You're walking. It's
Yeah.
more than crawling. The other thing you did that you identified, I want to point this out. This is huge. not only is it in the practicing, but it's in the stories that we tell ourselves because
Mm.
you were at the dunes and you nailed this. And then someone's like, oh, bro, that's just a preview. If you would have taken that as, oh, that wasn't good enough, that was just the small preview, that's what you tell yourself over and over and over in the story that you create. Instead, you can say, thank you. And in your mind, that was one badass hill, man. Like that was awesome. And go in with
Oh
that.
yeah.
It's a different story. The experience is the same, but the story we tell ourselves create the different chemicals that are released in our body to move us towards our goal or to keep us hidden beyond our goals. And that is one of the most powerful things I think we can do.
Exactly. Exactly. The funny thing, I mean, it's on that second story, the dunes where I tell people that was the craziest dune I've ever biked on. It was really high for me, and I was so proud of it. The worst thing is that when I got off the dune, I biked by myself back to camp. Luckily, that it was still daylight. And I
Yeah.
was like, wait a second, you guys are letting me bike on my own where there might be like brown hyenas around and could attack me. So I think I did a much braver commute than they
Yeah.
did.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's the story I'm telling people.
That's that's interesting because my next question was
And
gonna be
yeah,
how has your experiences living and working overseas outside of the US, how has it helped shaped your
yeah,
coaching approach? And that was one great example because I mean, there's no hyenas out here in East Tennessee, right?
right.
So that's one example. But speak into that a little more. How has that helped shape your coaching?
Yeah. Currently, before here, I was in Mozambique, and before that, I was in Egypt. Totally different countries, and within each country, many different cultures. And the, I was born in the Philippines. I grew up there until I was 9. I live in New York, which is also very, very multicultural, multi-ethnic.
Mhm.
Um, the key thing I've found is to observe with curiosity. How how are people living their lives,
Mhm.
right? Um, what's important to them? Is it obtaining clean water? Is it getting fresh food? How are they enjoying the scenery of the beaches or the crowdedness of Cairo, the bustling of the sounds and dirt and dust going everywhere? I still love Cairo, actually. Um, but the key thing there is to ask questions, curiosity, not judgment, right?
Mhm.
Um, now, what makes them tick? What makes them do what they do and why, right? It goes back to the whole values thing. What's important to them right now?
Mhm.
And so when I work with leaders from other countries that I may not be familiar with, I ask, okay, so you are making this decision that's going to impact your life, but also your family's life.
Right.
What else is being factored in, right? There's societal expectations.
Mhm.
There's cultural expectations. Talking to yourself about it. What's going into that mind of yours, right? That very interesting mind of yours, where it
Yeah.
says wife, son, daughter, or multiple children, or no spouse, or husband, or whatever it is. But there is something else that's talking to you. Religion might be a big factor. Spirituality might be a big factor. Or is it more about just taking care of the earth, right? And so for me, it's always I come in at it as let's understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
When I live in different countries, I'm the new person, right? I don't know anything about this country. I may have read something about it, but I'm not
Right.
knowledgeable. I ask questions. How do you say this? How do you say good morning? Okay, am I saying it correctly? Oh, the one that's just being respectful about it, being the guest of someone else's home. Um, and again, curiosity. Oh, that's very interesting. Tell me more about this culture. Tell me more about this food. And I love doing that with food because it brings out a lot of history,
Yeah.
right? When you talk about here in Brazil, they have feijoada. And feijoada is like a stew of wheat, and usually it's like innards and everything about the meat, right? And sometimes it's like leftovers. Where did that come from?
Mhm.
And they're like, we just like it. We just eat it. I don't know where it's coming from. Like, okay, well, sorry for asking the question. And for others, like, oh, it's this. Right? And so I'm coming at it as the curious foreigner. I hope I come at it as a respectful, curious foreigner. Uh, I'm I'm here as their guest. I want to know more. I also want to share if they're interested about me. Not to be selfish about it, but I want to know more about them, right?
Right. Right.
um, and Brazil is a huge country, lots of cultures, lots of traditions. And so Mozambique also, they had so many languages, 27 languages at least.
Mm.
And Cairo, it's huge. And then the southern part is just a totally different culture as well. Uh, and I don't want to assume anything, right? The only assumption I will make, it goes back to they're human beings as well.
Mm.
Uh, they have gone through different experiences, similar in terms of maybe it's imposter syndrome, maybe it's setting boundaries, whatever it is for these senior leaders that I've worked with. But the core of it is they're still human beings.
Mhm.
They are going to make mistakes. And, whether we like those mistakes or not, whether we think they're mistakes or not, and they think it's a mistake or not,
Yeah.
we have our flaw, and that's who we are. We can't judge someone just for that one thing. There are other things that are factored into their decision, to their actions, to the thoughts. So for me, it's let's understand it, and I like to understand through food, and that's where history is for me. Whenever I go somewhere, I ask, okay, what's their traditional dish, or what's their favorite dish? So
Yeah.
might be not my favorite. I will try it at least once,
Yeah.
but some of it could be my favorite. Could be fantastic. And then we talk. It's like, oh, where did this come from?
Mhm.
Why this? Right? Again, it's the curiosity for me. I come in as a coach. Why is it so
Yeah.
important to them? Yeah. So that's really where how I come at not necessarily helping, but understanding my clients.
Right. Right. I love that answer because curiosity is our greatest superpower. If
Yeah.
we come with curiosity, we do not have the ability to judge. And once we judge, we automatically set our own personal course in this conversation
Mm,
to one way or the other,
mhm,
right? If we're
mhm.
curious, we are truly exploring and researching and learning and everything. Like, even if they say something that is against our values, we're
Yeah,
not taking it
yeah,
personal, right? Because it has
exactly.
nothing to do with us. This is about learning about them. The other thing I love about this, it's brilliant. I don't know if the listeners picked up on this, but food has a really good correlation with emotions. So when you start
Uh,
talking to someone about food, it's a gateway for them to tap into strong memories because our memories are concreted in through
yeah,
emotions. When we
yeah,
have these emotional events, they create memories. So, like, a lot of people will have smells and they're like, oh, this smells like grandma's house when I was
exactly.
young. Like, all of a sudden, when you're like, tell me more about this dish, they're like, oh, I used to make this with my mom. And
Right.
you just gave yourself permission and them permission to join in human connection. And like,
Yeah,
that's where it started. And that led with curiosity. Brilliant. Thank
yeah.
you for sharing that. That was awesome.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It's important, I think, for me because I need to remind myself that I have my own values and I can't put that on someone else, right? Because I
Mhm.
don't know where they, and so maybe we have a shared value or two or three or more.
Yeah.
I just don't know, until I ask.
Right.
Right?
Right. And ultimately, it doesn't matter about whether or not we have the shared values. It's, are we allowing one another to represent those values and live those values?
Exactly.
And are we encouraging one another to tap into our individual values and then collectively come together? Because so in my mind, I have this justice league of mentors, right?
Uh-huh.
They
Uh-huh.
all at a very core, if I were to break this down and to, explain this in detail, it would come down to each one of them have a different value that
Uh-huh.
I've learned from. And when I'm speaking to someone with a shared value of them, their voice resonates higher because
Yeah.
it can help in this moment. Well,
Exactly.
that's ultimately what we do as leaders. If we allow the values of others to emerge, all of a sudden we have a super team of individual attributes that together can freaking change the world. That's what I find
Yeah.
super fascinating about this and amazing.
Yeah. And and it's not just allowing the values to emerge, it's allowing themselves to emerge,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And once you know and see that, you can understand where their skill sets are coming from, where their superpowers are coming from, and how they're going to use their superpowers, right? And are those superpowers aligned with what your values and the organizational values or community values? Is that the right place, right time, right? And
Mhm.
so, not saying this is the way to get rid of people, but it's a good way to understand of how we're going to work together, right?
Yeah.
And how we're going to recruit people to come and work with us because it's a shared value experience.
Right.
Um, and coming at it from HR, but also just in general, like, we tend to work better with people who we shared values.
Mhm.
Now, different superpowers, but shared values. What's
Yeah.
important to us? Um, and that's just important to have. And we tend to work better with them. We don't have to necessarily again like each other.
Yeah.
It's helpful to like each other,
It is. It is.
but we should respect each other
Yeah.
and encourage each other to grow. There might be opportunities to change, and that's
Mhm.
might be there. I don't necessarily look for it right? It may appear and be
Right.
open to that appearance of it. Um, but yeah, when you say that there is a shared value in this place, and you can say, "Huh, this is probably where I belong right now."
Right.
Yeah,
That's an interesting way to put that. So the shared value creates the welcoming feeling of belonging.
yeah, exactly,
That's
exactly.
powerful. So for those that are like, I don't even know what my values are, where can they begin identifying and integrating their values into their personal or professional life?
Yeah. Well, so first thing is, if you don't know what your values are, I think without doing an assessment first, right? I'm going to talk about the assessment later on,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just talking about in general, okay, why is this bothering me? Right? If I don't know what my values are,
Yeah.
why is it bothering me? Like, why am I questioning this? Right? Um, there's something in there. Okay, then it goes to, okay, what's important to me? I like my family. I like my friends. I like this type of job. Like, just thinking about it that way. And then you can drill on, drill and drill. But if you say for yourself, I don't know what it is and I don't know where to go do it, and I'm interested in learning more, great, perfect. Then I have an assessment for you. But if you just want to talk about um, you know, let me just dwell in the fact that I like doing things
Mhm.
this way.
Right.
I like to make sure that my coffee is done this way. there's a little bit of control in there, isn't there?
Just a little bit.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's a little bit of control in there.
yeah.
Not necessarily a bad thing. It's more of
Right,
like you know what you want,
right.
right? You know what you like also. Um, and so just asking yourself, what do I like? And who do I like? And so when you think of someone, okay, ooh, I like that person. Let's think about that. Okay, what about that person do you like? Is
Mhm.
it the way they speak? Is it their message? Is it the way they dress, the way they present themselves?
Yeah,
Um, is it the confidence that comes off when they come into a room, right? So for me, it's then you can talk about that, right? It's the confidence. That's what you like and what you prefer. Um, and then you drill more. Like, why?
yeah,
What about that? Right? And so, you know, I will talk about assessments. Let's do assessments. But the very bare minimum that you could start doing is asking, what do I like and why? And who do I like and why? Right. And so the why could be, what about that person? What about these things? And just explore, just write it down and free write it. It's like, let it all come to paper, pen and paper, pencil, paper, all that, because
yeah.
it gets your brain going, right?
Right.
As you start writing, your brain starts moving along with you and putting in writing. Even if you just fluff at the beginning, just do it. So that's one way to really understand what your values are, what's important to you, right?
Mm.
The other thing I would encourage folks to do is they can take the personal values assessment. This is by the Barrett Values Center. Uh, and I am going to do a little marketing. I'm certified to offer this assessment, but there's a through my website there is a link for a free assessment. No payment on your end, and it's a quick assessment. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes. Sometimes it's less. One question, and then it'll spit out for you um, why these things are important. What's important to you? And it'll say, here are the values that you've chosen. And let's do a summary of what that means to you. Some people know it's control, but really don't really know why it's control. Right.
Right.
Um, and so this assessment will spit it out for you. It's a very basic assessment, but very powerful. It has a lot in there in a page when you're looking at it, and you're like, wow, this is me.
Yeah.
Even if you don't say that, that means you may have chosen the wrong value. uh, and then I can walk it through with you if you're interested in going through some more in depth about these values. Why again, it just tells you where you're coming at the moment. It's not gonna be for the rest of your lives. Again, we talk about change, right? When you shift jobs, when you have a new kid, when you get married, when you move to a different place, your values may change, right? Because you may be more worried about financials, or you're retiring and you're more worried about teaching and caring about your grandchildren and all that instead. The values change over the years, and it's okay and it's acceptable. Sometimes friendship may last you the whole time, and that's a value that you have. Family might be a long-term value. Uh, but yeah, so if anyone's interested, go to my website, romeoymalay.com, and then you can find a link to do the PBA, and I also have an accompanying guidebook that can help you walk through the assessment as well. Very powerful, and it's very quick as well. So I encourage people to take it.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I like the differentiation on long-term values. And I've also heard like core values. So those that
Yeah,
tend to never change because they're the driving force. But these other values that we interact in the world with change based on circumstances, based on, I
yeah,
mean, if are we in survival mode or are we thriving? Because survival mode,
exactly.
like you said earlier, do I need clean water? Brings a whole different value system as opposed to I want to move up in my organization because
Exactly.
we're safe enough now that we're not being chased, by this metaphorical saber-toothed tiger. And now we're able to graze and oh, I
Exactly.
want to graze in a different meadow now. So I can look beyond
Yeah.
this meadow. Um,
Yeah.
so I appreciate you identifying that. And please, guys, we're gonna have these links down below to make it easier. Take the assessment, like gain some insight on yourself, and then take that. I would encourage you to take that and take pen to paper again and expand on, like, how does this resonate with you? The explanation of who you are, it's a piece of paper, but what's coming up? What are memories coming up for you that are associating with this value, this understanding of who you are, and then gain some insight into who you are.
Yeah, exactly. And also when you look at it, you might be surprised
Mhm.
that you chose a value that you may not have thought of is a value for you, or a value that may be a challenge to a different value. And or the big thing that I see a lot of my clients say is, I don't behave that way. But this is my value according to this thing. But I don't behave that way. It's like, well, okay, so how are you behaving
Mhm.
and not exhibiting this value? And maybe we need to explore this because you may not be aware of the impact to yourself, the negative impact to yourself, but not being true to and being aligned to your value, your core value.
Right.
And you may have chosen a value that you think you want to be
Yeah. Yes.
instead of your current being.
Yes. And welcome to misalignment of, wait a minute.
Yeah,
It's that
exactly.
it's that subtle understanding of, wait a minute, I only have one shoe on. Right. And you're
Mhm.
like, I'm seeing the world here, and it's because, yeah, I've been living someone else's value, or I'm wanting something instead of understanding, appreciating, and having gratitude for the values that I personally have.
Exactly, exactly. And, take a step um, more into the shoe thing. Maybe wearing 2 shoes, but 2 different socks,
Right, right.
right?
Very
And you're
subtle.
like,
Yeah,
"How am I balancing these 2 values?"
yeah,
Because they may be opposing,
correct,
but you're
correct.
still wearing them and
Yeah.
exhibiting them. And so are you being true to yourself? So
This Guys, this is why I love having chats with Romeo, is because for everything that we dive into, he has this brilliant ability to expand and go deeper, and to take metaphors and just, let's open the metaphors. Let's just keep diving. And I love that because it's a continual self-exploration. And I mean, that's what coaching is. That is coaching at its core. And so, Romeo, thank you, man, for coming on and not only showcasing and highlighting what you're amazing at in terms of knowledge with the values, but also exhibiting the coach that you are. So, man, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate your time.
Eric, thank you so much for having me. Had a really fun time. It's yeah, I'm talking more about Dune recycling.
Yeah, yeah, it's a journey, man. It's a journey.
It is.
Is there anything we didn't cover, or anything you would like to offer the listeners?
Yeah, I just want to end with just a few things. One is to remember that we are all human beings, and we are flawed people, right? We are flawed individuals, and we are work in progress. And
Mhm.
so it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to test and try and experience what it could be to be the best version of ourselves. And so one, just accept the fact that we have flaws and accept the fact that people are there to help us become better. Two is that be interesting, live an interesting life, whatever that means to you. The key thing there is to, again, try and experiment
Mhm.
and explore what your superpower would be or is, right? And and cultivate that and offer it to the world. Offer it to the world in the most positive way, even if it's a small thing, right? And even if it's just like, I'm going to pick up trash from the street today, right? It makes a difference, and you're an interesting person. And lastly, is that we share common dilemmas, not just that we're flawed, but we share common dilemmas. And so, um, whatever coaching that we offer, leadership coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, at the end of the day, coaching is coaching. Um, it's powerful. We will ask you questions to go deep into yourself and understand how you can be better and explore what's possible for you. Um, so just a little plug there on Explore Coaching, um, and Explore Coaching with an accredited coach, a trained coach, because we talk about ethics. We talk about our training, and where we come from and why we do what we do. And so explore your values, explore your superpower, offer your superpower, be interesting, and know that we're flawed, but we're working to be better. And it's okay. And we will be better.
I love that. Yeah, we're flawed and we're working to be better, and we're working to be better together. And we expand so much quicker and with so much more passion and momentum when we do that together. So
Exactly.
I love that. I love that, especially the fact of like we don't bring in our credentials to say, look, we're a credential coach. We bring that to say, look, there is a level of empowerment that comes when we go through this process. And it's amazing to see someone go from I don't know what to do to conquering their own world, right? Conquering their own dunes, right? And
Exactly.
writing
Exactly.
that. And there's something so amazing in that shared experience, from coach to client and then client to coach as well. So I thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's
No, thank you,
awesome.
Eric. Thank you so much.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Once again, where can people find you?
So they can find me on my website, www.romeoymalay.com. That's the best place. You can also find me on LinkedIn if you're interested in that, if you have a LinkedIn account. Those are the two things that really
Perfect.
you can find me at, and let you know, Romeo@romeoymalay.com through the email, through the website. So all good.
Awesome.
I'm on the World Wide Web.
And again, I'll have that below. But Romeo, man, thank you for joining today. Guys, for anyone listening, remember what Romeo said, be interesting. And that doesn't mean spend time and figure out what makes me different. Be you, because you are interesting. You are amazing. You are more than enough. Be you. Tap into that and try, explore. And if you fail, laugh it off, because it's only failure if you give it permission to be so. Otherwise, this is your next learning opportunity, your next growth, your next step forward. So, and leadership isn't about what we achieve, right? It's about leading with that integrity, where decisions, actions, interactions are constantly guided by our clear personal values, where our personal values become professional values. And then it goes beyond this individual, and it's about who we become together. And ultimately, that's what we're here doing. It's about creating environments where connection, competency, and compassion are not principles, but lived experiences, and leading with understanding that true impact isn't measured by personal achievement, but by collective growth and transformation that we inspire. So be amazing, because you are amazing. Reach out if you need help, if you need a coach, if you need a friend, if whatever you need, we're here. And guys, thanks for joining us for another episode of Pep Talks with Eric. And I am so excited to see you on the next one. But until then, be well, be loved. Thank you for listening to Pep Talks with Eric. If something sparked today, pass it forward. Remember to subscribe and share it with someone who needs it. Keep doing the thing. Keep showing up. You're not alone in this, and we're not whole without you. I'll see you next time.